This is Wookie and you're watching SBTV. Down sign? Any of them signs? W? My name is Wookie, and I'm one of the early guys of the two-step scene, UKG scene, and I remixed a lot of work from the likes of Justin Timberlake, Jill Scott, Texas, Cisco, Soul to Soul, and Sia, and countless others. I met Jazzy B in the barbershop next door to my house, and played him a cassette of my stuff, and he was quite impressed, and he invited me down the studio to have a meeting with him. And after maybe 2 or 3 visits down there, he asked me if I wanted to, join the production team. That basically entailed me going to the studio every day, having a place to work, and just write music. What I have at the moment is an iMac, 27-inch iMac, Channel X 8030s, I think, Adams A7. Most studios should have more than one monitor, just to see what it sounds like on different speakers. This is a Minx. It's a solid state Logic box. It's basically like it has well, this is 4 stereo channels and a mix bus. What I like about this is like a best of both worlds. It's hardware and software. So this hardware side of it, and then you have the software side. It's a mixture between the sampler and the drum machine in terms of how I work. It enables me to give individual sounds their own swing, or make everything have the same swing value, which is quite important actually, because it tightens up my drums at the moment, and I'm really feeling this box. These are DAT tapes, digital audio tape, and this is every time I left studios, this is my my name wasn't Wookie back then. This is called Cat Productions. This is April 1999. This is Down on Me, Fair, all my early tracks. This is the beginning of this actual that here is the beginning of Wookie. Oh, look at that! Look at that! 1992, hardcore.
Pure hardcore raving.
Pure hardcore raving. I recorded something to that. I started to make my own way well, separate from Soul to Soul, when well, it was a bit cheeky actually, because a friend of mine from school, his name is Johnny J, he always used to ask me about getting into studios to do some stuff, and Jazzy used to go on holiday every year, so around January he's not there, so I used to use that studio time when he wasn't there to do my own stuff. And Johnny J used to bring the acapella. The first one we did, sorry, I should have said that myself and Johnny J became X-Men. We did a Whitney Houston, these are all bootleg mixes. We did Whitney Houston, It's Not Right, It's Okay. Then we did Angel by Brandy, and another track called Yesterday with Deborah Morgan. And we put our money together, pressed up 500 or so copies of each record, one at a time obviously, and just started off that way. Okay, I'm about to take you inside Music House. Music House is very integral in my building. This is where I pressed my first records. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to press my record. Dub cutting where you have an acetate. This is a 10-inch acetate. A customer would come in here with a CD or a DAT or whatever, put in here. My brother would compress it a little bit, put some EQ, fix it up, and then sound runs from here and then gets cut, goes through this needle here, and this needle cuts the grooves onto the plate, which is basically a one-off copy. I'd been working on my sound for a couple of years, but I think there was no sort of scene as such that would play my music because it was too different to anything else that was going on. Years later, two-step came along and I was like, okay, this works and that. You know, well, they liked what I was doing. So I was lucky really that two-step came along and so I would have still been in the studio trying to develop a sound. Okay, the stuff that I've done here, all the Manchu stuff was mastered and processed here. My dad and my brother influenced me to make my own records in the first place. If it wasn't for here, I probably wouldn't have done the Manchu label, or even may not even be no Down on Me and Scrappy. But it was all here, and this is Music House. Everybody knows this place, and now you do. The studio now has changed drastically to what it used to be. You know, it used to be a lot of, there's a few wires now, but it used to be a lot more wires, a lot more MIDI cables, a lot more linking this to that and that and that, and then pressing play and then hoping that they all sync up together. Now, we're lucky you ain't got to go through that anymore. Now, you know, as technology's gone on, more people, you know, people wear more hats, you know, and I'm still learning that engineering hat. You know, I mix my stuff myself now, where before I had an engineer. I'd make my beat and then I'd be like, okay, cool, we're ready to mix. Then it got printed onto tape. I go have lunch, come out of the room where the engineer would do his thing. Then I come back a couple of hours later and say, no, bring that down, whatever. You know, now you got to do all that yourself. Okay, this is a remix that it's actually finished. It's the mix process now. This is just making sure it sounds good and all together. This is Bobby Womack. I'll just play a section of my drums. Track playing like this. This is everything played together. How I put my stuff together. I just solo the kicks. I have sometimes about 4 or 5 kicks doing different things. But there's 3 kicks here. I don't know if you can hear that. And then I have the separation in EQs. Because sometimes you have different sounds that have clashing frequencies, and you want to, like, if you're playing more than one sound together, that's like hi-hats, like these two. So if I was to take that off, you hear that's the original sample. That's horrible. It's noisy as hell. It's load of low frequency. So if I turn the analyzer on, you can see here what this is doing. If I back it back up here, turn it off, you see all that low frequency. You don't need that because it's a hi-hat, doesn't need low frequency. So you just take all that off and clean it off. You just hear that high side. A lot of people add bass or add mids or add whatever. It's actually taken away because the sound has, you know, all, like you just heard there, it's got a lot of low frequency noise that you don't need. That might be just earth from the sample that you took it from, or, you know. So you need to clean out. Everything needs to have its own space. I always probably do maybe 2 or 3 kicks, a couple of snares, definitely more than 2 hi-hats and 2 hi-hat rhythms. Everything has its own pattern and its own rhythm, and then it all plays together. My bass, which is can't believe I'm leaving that out. I normally 2 basses. I have one that's a low, just a low sub, which is I think this one. But then I still have my. I always do that. But this isn't this is actually a virtual instrument that's making this sound. My bass sound from before was the Studio Electronic SE1. That's an analog bass module. It had no presets in it, so every time I had a new tune, I have to move it to the sound I wanted. But if I was working on something for 3 days and someone came in my studio, was chatting to me, yeah, and they turn a knob, my sound has changed, and I used to hate that. I've always started from scratch when I make a track. The closest thing to a template would be a group of drum sounds. That was it, and even then, I'm trying to look for a different kick or a different snare or whatever. This is Wookie, and this is my producer's house in my house in a small room. You can find me on Twitter, twitter.wookstar, WOOXSTAR. Facebook, Wookstar, /Wookstar. Basically everything is Wookstar, WOOXSTAR.